Also, whatever I am writing, I will save it as a PDF and make it available to you. So that's another thing. But yeah, I will have to keep in mind that I need to start recording the lectures. So maybe in the next 2, 3 lectures, do remind me at some point so that I don't forget. This is my first time doing online teaching, so yeah, that might happen. The plan is to record all lectures and make them available. Any other questions?
Does collaborating mean that we will be graded in a different way? If we rather do it individually or collaborate? So like,
Right. Right. So grading will be individual. So that's the main, that's one of the important. So one of the things, yeah, so that's a very good question actually. One of the very important things, especially in this course, but I think it should be the case for most courses, is your writing ability. So it is not just enough to have the correct idea in your own mind. It is the student's responsibility to be able to communicate these ideas to the TAs. And that is actually a very important point that I want to elaborate on further. If an assignment is marked, the general expectation is that it should be written in such a way that it should be understandable, comprehensible to our very qualified TAs, right? If the TAs are not able to comprehend the solution in a reasonable amount of time, then the onus is on the student. And it will not be encouraged that you come to office hours afterwards and be like, oh, this is what I meant, you did not understand what I meant, so please give me marks for this. No, so that will not be encouraged at all. And that is one of the main reasons why, despite allowing collaboration, I want everybody to write on their own. So writing and explaining the mathematical ideas is equally important as having the mathematical ideas, perhaps even more important, because what good is math if you cannot explain it to anybody, or for that matter, for any subject, right? So that's why you may collaborate, you may discuss, you may have Google meetings, but at the end of the day, you must write everything on your own. And because your writing abilities will differ, generally speaking, your marks will differ as well. So just because you collaborated with XYZ does not mean that you and XYZ will have the same marks on that question. Okay?
thanks.
Okay, you're welcome. Any other questions? Okay, let me see. There's someone who's typed a question. Okay. Any idea of how much intersection there will be with basic graph theory course, a core course for CS undergrad students? Right. That's a good point. So if you have taken a CS, if you have taken an undergrad course in graph theory at IIT Madras, there is one offered by the mathematics department, MA2130, if I'm not mistaken. And I think you would have seen all of these topics to a certain depth: connectivity, planarity, and matchings. In matchings, I am reasonably confident that you would not have seen non-bipartite matchings or counting perfect matchings. So you would have seen only the first part, bipartite matchings. Even in connectivity and planarity, I am reasonably confident that there are things you will not have seen in that course, and you definitely would not have seen the algorithmic content. So the algorithmic content should be new for most of the students who have taken an undergraduate course in graph theory. But of course, the algorithmic content also requires a good degree of graph theoretical content, and some of that you may have seen in your undergraduate course. So what I would suggest to you, Rebin Silva, and anybody else who has this question, take a look at the syllabus in the course outline, and I have actually written the tentative list of topics to be covered within each module. Right, so go through that list and see how much of it you have already seen in your undergrad course in graph theory. And if you want, you can also have an individual discussion with me to get more information on this matter. Okay. Any other questions? The course outline is on Moodle and it was sent to everybody by email. If you are not able to find it in your email and you are not able to find it on Moodle, please send me an email and I will send it to you. Okay. Thanks, Govind. So the outline link has been shared on the chat. Any other questions? Okay. So it seems that there are no more questions. So let us go through, we have 20 more minutes. So what I would like to do
Sir,
is I would like, yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
How is the attendance procedure going to be as such? Is there one?
Attended.
Yeah, I mean, is there one going to be or just?
Good point. Right. So basically, you are strongly encouraged to attend the lectures, right? If you are unable to attend the lectures for any reason, or if you are unable to attend some lectures for some reason, that's totally all right. There is no need to, if you are going to miss a couple of lectures, there is no need to send an email to me. If for some reason you think you are going to miss a significant number of lectures for some personal constraints, or some personal problems or whatever, or poor internet connectivity, then please send me an email about it so that I am aware of it. We are going to keep a check to make sure that everybody attends at least a reasonable number of lectures. And I will not make this precise, right? I mean, I'm not going to bother making this precise. The more important thing is that you participate in the course. So if we see that somebody is really not attending the lectures, let's say, I would say, let's say less than 50% of the lectures are being attended, and the person is also not submitting assignments or is missing some number of assignments, then that will be a red flag, and I will get in touch with the student and find out what is going on. Right. So the more important thing is not to just show your presence. The more important thing is to participate in the lecture by attending the lectures, by submitting assignments, and I would even say that by participating actively in the lecture. I really want these lectures to be very interactive, and I'm going to try my best to make the lectures interactive. Right? It's not going to be me just speaking. So hopefully that will be some incentive for people to attend the lecture. Another thing I should mention is the course notes I'm typing are likely to not have any figures or examples, partly because I may not have the time to do so. And secondly, because I think it is actually a good idea so that you will be seeing lots of examples and figures in the course, in the class, in the lectures. And so that is another incentive to attend the lectures, because otherwise the course notes is just going to be a bunch of gibberish mathematics written. Like, without examples, mathematics often doesn't make much sense.
Sir, can you share these notes that you're writing while we are in the class? Will you be sharing these notes?
The notes I'm writing on the meeting.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes. My plan is to convert the notes into a PDF format and share it on Moodle. So you will have the lecture notes, but you will also have the additional typed notes whenever they are available. Sounds good?
Good, sir. Good.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, Govind and Santini are the TAs. And if either of you remember anything I'm missing out, please remind me right now. Okay. There is one more question.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything else.
Okay, thanks, Govind. So somebody has asked the question, I now enrolled on Moodle. If I only want to audit the course, do I need to unenroll as time for unenrolling is 1 week? Right, so if you are interested in auditing the course, please send me an email. Okay, anybody who is interested in auditing the course should send me an email. If you have already sent me an email, then there is no need to send another email. Then I know who you are. So yeah, if you're going to audit the course, then there is no need to unenroll from Moodle. I will be keeping you on Moodle so that you can audit the course. But I strongly recommend not auditing the course just for the sake of it. So if you are going to audit the course, please try to be serious about it and try to do the assignments. It is not a requirement. Auditing is completely up to you, right? But I have, as a graduate student, audited courses, and I remember in courses where I did not do anything and I basically did not gain anything. So my own experience and my other colleagues' experiences tell me that auditing is really a bad idea if you're not going to actually take it seriously and not going to follow up. So please be alert of that. Right, the difference between auditing and crediting. So crediting a course, which means that you are formally taking the course and this will appear in your transcripts, you will get a grade, everything, okay? Auditing, at some institutes, you can actually formally audit a course. So it will say on your transcript that you're auditing. This is not the case at IIT Madras. There is no formal concept of auditing a course, right? So auditing a course basically means, formally speaking, it means nothing. Informally speaking, it means that you are interested in knowing about this course, you're interested in learning, but you don't have the time to commit to the course fully because you have too many other responsibilities. And that is why you are auditing the course, right? And so that is completely informal, right? So if you decide to audit the course and then you decide Hi. Hi, can you all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so there is a problem. I'm using two accounts and yeah, sometimes my laptop is too old and I don't know why it disconnects at times. So now I'm using my tablet. Anyways, so sorry for that. Okay. Good. Right. So as I said, auditing the course is a completely informal thing. So if you audit a course and then you are not able to do any assignments or anything, then that will have no consequences. Whereas if you credit the course, you must do all of the assignments. Well, you have to try your best to do as much as you can for the course, and your grade will be affected by how much you do and what grade you get. I'm still trying to connect with my laptop, but let's see how long that takes.
Hi, sir.
Hi.
So I'm interested in knowing
Okay.
how related.
So now can you all hear me as before?
Yes.
Okay, so now my laptop is working. So let's see how much more time we have. We have got another 10 minutes. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
I have a question.
Okay, so I'll have to see what's going Yeah, go
Yeah,
on.
so I'm interested in knowing how related is this field or the contents of this course in the broad context of computer science, other fields, like as in complexity theory slash cryptography slash the other things.
There is a lot of noise behind. Is someone's mic on or what's going on? Okay, now it's okay. So, right, so this course is intricately connected with algorithms and complexity, right? So those are the two topics in theoretical computer science that this course is connected with. It is not directly as such connected with many other areas of computer science, but it does have applications. So I'm not going to discuss the application. So just to give you an example, I mean, I already gave you one example, how graph planarity is related to VLSI chip design, right? But we are not actually going to go into the details of that application, right? So it is connected to other areas of computer science in the sense that graph theory and graph algorithms have applications to other areas of computer science, whether that is compiler design, computer architecture, VLSI design, even topics like machine learning that I am not very familiar with have connections with graph theory to the best of my knowledge. So in that sense, yes, it is connected, but we are not going to see the applications and we are not going to go deep into any of the applications at all, right? But we will see connections, we will see strong connections with algorithms and complexity theory. And those I will always point out. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, good. Okay, any other questions? No? Okay. So in that case, we have another 7 minutes remaining. So that is not really enough to do introductions of everybody, right? So what we can instead do is maybe just the course staff, including myself, we will introduce ourselves. And then in the next lecture, we will start sharp at 9 a.m. tomorrow, 8 a.m. tomorrow. And we will start with introductions of all the students. I don't want to do some introductions today and some introductions tomorrow. That's going to be a bit too discontinuous. So given that we have just 7 more minutes, let's just do some quick introductions for the course staff. So the TAs, please think of something to say while I briefly introduce myself. And tomorrow we will have introductions by all the students. Okay? Okay, so, well, I've already said a bit about myself. I'm Nishad, and I have just joined recently. So yeah, it's actually, I'm returning to India after nearly 11 years of staying outside. I did my PhD in Canada, and then I was a postdoc in Canada, Austria, Brazil. And finally, I decided that, okay, I should probably find a more stable job in life. And I absolutely love teaching and research. So that's why I was very clear that I would like to have an academic career. And yeah, here I am at IIT Madras in the midst of a pandemic coming from Brazil to India. That was quite a nightmare. But yeah, luckily I've made it. And yeah, that's about me. If anybody has any specific questions, I can answer them. Otherwise, we can move on to the TAs introducing themselves. Let's wait for a few seconds if anybody has any questions.
Nishad, one question is there.
Yeah.
If we have some doubts, today's class or later some class, whom shall we contact first? Is it you or the TA?
Right, that's a very good point, and I completely forgot mentioning this, so thank you. Right, so there are going to be office hours, and it's hi, can you hear me? Can you all hear me?
Yes, but there are two videos and two monitors.
Right. My laptop, I was able to get into it. Why it keeps getting disconnected? So that I will check. So now I'm back to my tablet. Right. So we are going to have office hours for the course, and so we need to announce what the times of the office hours are. So the plan is to have we are planning to have a poll on Moodle, if it's possible, and to find out what times work for the students or work for most of the students. So we will have office hours for all three of us. I will be having an office hour each week, and each of the TAs will be having an office hour each week. So you should try to go to these office hours and ask any doubts you may have. Does that sound good? Hi, Sukanya, can you hear me? Oh, I see what the problem is. Hi, can you hear me? My speaker was off.
So we are able to hear you.
Okay, you're able to hear me. Okay. Right, good. So yeah, this is okay. So yeah, my laptop is creating some problems. I will have to try to fix this issue so that we can have smooth meetings. Or I may have to start using just a tablet, and my video, I will have to probably buy a webcam and see how I can manage that. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, so maybe we have 2 more minutes. Can Govind or Santini, one of you, introduce yourselves?
Right. So I'm Govind. I'm a final year dual degree student from the electrical engineering department. I'm doing my DDP under Professor Meghna Nasri from the CS department, and my work is primarily on matchings, approximation algorithms, and NP hardness relating to problems on matching.
Thanks, Govind.
Hello.
Santini, would you like to go? Yeah.
Hello. I'm Shandini. I'm a PhD student, a second year PhD student working under Meghna Nasri. And my research area is matchings with preferences.
Okay, thank you, Govind and Santini. So yes, as you see, we have two very good TAs who are also working in graph theory and graph algorithms. In particular, they are working on matchings. Matchings is also my own research area. So yeah, we are going to have some fun in the matchings part, but hopefully we'll have fun throughout the course. Good. Are there any more questions? We have 1 or 2 more minutes to go.
Do we have a course web page for this course?
Right. So I haven't created a course web page. My plan is to use Moodle for as many things as possible. But if I feel at some point that we need something more than Moodle, then I may create a course web page. But A part of it has just been that I have not had the time to do it. I've just joined and I have not had the time to set up a web page and all. I just thought that I'll try doing everything through Moodle, which the students are very used to. So yeah, but let's see. If at some point we think we need something more than Moodle, we'll look into it. No, there are no plans to have any tutorial classes. Since this is a elective course, yeah, we won't be having any tutorial classes. We will have office hours and we will have regular lectures, right? But the lectures, as I said before, I want them to be really interactive. And so that is going to be my goal, and I hope that you all help me in realizing that goal by trying to interact and trying to participate as much as you can, right? So that's the plan. Any other questions? Okay, good. So, well, it's already 9:51. We are 1 minute past the time. So let's meet tomorrow at 8 o'clock and let's start with advanced graph algorithms. Thank you, everyone. Try your best to be punctual, please, so that nobody is left waiting for you. We will start the lecture sharp at 8 o'clock. Okay? Thanks.
Thanks. Thanks.
Thanks.
Yep, thank you.
So maybe Govind and Santini, if you can just stay for a bit.
Sure.
Thanks.